All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Hey, welcome to this episode of Mondays, Money Monday, here on our WC coaching call. Hope you guys are all rock and rolling. Had a great weekend. It was cold here in Austin again this weekend, and hopefully you guys are all staying warm wherever you're at in the country. But today's episode, I want to dive straight into it. Um, One of the things is a note investor. And it was funny. I had a conversation this morning with a guy who's been buying notes, but primarily seconds from California. And in the second space, he's like, well, I got to buy four or five of them and hope that two to three work out while the other two to three sit on the shelf until the seller gets around or the owner gets around to selling the property or refinancing out. And then my second mortgage pops up. And he had bought first liens. And we were talking about kind of the process and how we evaluate things a little different because we are in the first lien position. We do control really what's going on with the asset, either working with a homeowner or if they won't play ball with us, then taking it the legal route to foreclose, not having to worry about taking over an underlying first lien, worrying about getting wiped out by a first lien. Obviously, the only thing that can wipe us out would be God and taxes. Well, if you pay the taxes, that's okay. And if God decides to destroy the house, you've got insurance on it, right? And so we had a good little chuckle about that. But this morning, one of our sources sent a list of 50 basically early buyouts where they're willing to sell these loans out of a fund, institutional debt, not owner finance stuff. And the great thing is, while these have been non-performing for a period of time, and I was just working on the spreadsheet, so it makes it a little bit easier. And just upload to Basecamp. You're in the WC inquiry. You should have gotten in the Basecamp folder for this morning, because it's got delinquencies. But the great thing about this, and it's sometimes hard to read, is the trial payment plans, the workout strategies, the potential workouts that the underlying lender has already negotiated with the borrower trying to keep them in the property. And they put it in notes. So you have to kind of figure out how to read the tea leaves, as I guess you say. If you're into tarot cards, reading the cards, right? We're just reading the notes in the comments on stuff. So I thought I'd share it with you. We could dive into it. I open it up for questions for you. Let's make sure you enable the chat roll for everybody here. So you can ask questions directly here. But this is 50 notes, and it's all across the country. I haven't even had a chance to map it yet. So let me see here. Okay, so if you have a bit of an idea where it's located, we have assets in this that are located in, let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. So you got Dallas, Texas. Actually, let me just filter this real fast. I didn't even hit a filter on it when I sent it. Shoot. All right, you've got stuff in Texas, Alabama, California, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Mississippi, North Carolina. And so you've gotten a bunch of states, Texas as well here. Let me rank this by state, custom sort. And so I'm going to resort it by state and then add levels city. I think actually Texas has, what's kind of funny, Texas has, there's a few chunks on here. So let's see here. There's a chunk in New York, which is no surprise there. But yeah, Texas by far has the most. If you look at these, there is, drum roll, please. Out of the 50, roughly about 20%, there's 9 of them that are Texas. You've got 7 in New York. See if there's any other significant state. Georgia's got 3. California's got 3. The rest all are kind of hit and miss. Okay. Oh, Virginia's got 5. Sorry about that. So, but the thing is, and these values are anywhere, the loan amounts range from anywhere from 50,000 all the way up to just under half a million, 489,000. Yeah, 489 is the high. Rates on these, give you a bit of an idea, is anywhere from 4 up to 7 and 3/8. Okay. And let's see when the origination on these, so you guys have a bit of an idea. They pulled values roughly. All right, so the note dates, these go back away. So that's why some equity. Anywhere from 1997 all the way up to 2023. Okay? So there's some folks here, especially those loans have been hanging around for a little. I would be willing to bet those 1997s are all in New York. You know what I mean? And the last payment dates on these vary from 2020 up to 2026. So it's a relatively new tape. The information was pulled. Let's see here. If you ever get an idea that a column is supposed to be a date, but it's a 5-digit number, you have to go back and format that cell to change it just from numbers, format cells from general to a date. Yeah, these were all pulled as of last week, 126. So it's a fresh tape with fresh information for you. Okay. And for those of you guys that have made offers on some of the other stuff the last 2 weeks, my conversation Thursday with the seller on that, the fund, is that the seller is still evaluating. They're just trying to get as much stuff pulled in from bids because it is a big tape. So it's not going to be an instantaneous yes. And I know we drag on for 2 weeks now or 3 weeks now, or actually we're starting a week 3 for the first round of bids. It can be frustrating, but I am assured the seller is selling these things. He's just taking a while to bring in bids and evaluate things and do things on their back end side. So stay patient because I got a lot of offers in on that stuff as well too. We've submitted some more offers on the Reign 3000 as of last Wednesday. So, all right. So you've got some stuff with some season on this stuff. Now, here's the thing that comes down to it. Let's look at last payment dates on a lot of stuff. So current P&I. Let me pull this up here. Where was it? Let me resort these. Now, they were Texas, but let's resort it by last paid date. Okay. Level. So that way you know it's the oldest to the newest. You know what I mean? As far as default status. Next, the due date. Newest, oldest to newest. All right. So we look at these oldest to newest. We just go back over here to the state side. We know we're gonna get rid of it. So yeah, some in Maryland, Florida, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Texas, even is like Baytown. There's a so it's all over the place. Houston, Lancaster. John, there's some stuff up in your neck of the woods there in H-Town there for you. You may want to be interested to take a look at. Now the thing about this that you have to take differently, and this is where the issues I will say lie pops up because they're non-performing notes. We can all agree last pay date is way back for a lot, especially these newer ones, right? But I haven't gotten pricing estimations from the seller on these yet. Because they're delinquent. But the thing to look at, so early buy, but you start seeing this stuff that you have to evaluate it well. So like looking at some of these numbers, trial means trial payment plan, approved for FHA 40-year loan mod at 6.5%, 480-month term, a modified unpaid balance of $128,429, modified P&I payment of $751.88. Trial period is from March to May. So they give them a 3-month trial period. Okay. And so there's one. And then if you click over here, there's another note to it. I don't know if it's any different. It's the same note a lot of times. Okay. So it's a little bit of duplicate, but you still have to go back and read them both. Make sure they are duplicates. So there's defects and notes, and it says servicing notes. And most of these are going to be exactly the same. I'm just looking here. I thought I saw one that was a little bit, like this one here. This one, there's nothing on the servicing notes, but subject properties in need of significant repairs, interior conditions unknown. That's why you've got to look at this stuff. Repayment plan approved, like this one down here. 3,142 due February 1st through July 1st. So it's basically like a 6-month, February, March, April, May, June, July. So 6-month, and it says payment plan approved. And just the same thing, basically, but it's a little bit different here. Delinquent, missing, like this one here, missing original note. Here's one to be considered about. Repayment forbearance plan set 0 due February through April, actually, sorry. So how much, if there's a plan in place, oh, well, it was sent, okay? But that doesn't say how much it was for. So that's when you have to be understanding. So some sellers are going to look at these and say, oh, we've got a payment plan in place. We're going to price this as a reperforming note. And I'm from the school that's like, okay, you have basically, hello, I'm interested, but I haven't paid shit yet. Okay. It doesn't mean it's performing. All right. Like, don't get me wrong. Same thing with this one. The repayment plan is set. Well, is it just that they're paying $3,000 a month for 3 months and they're back to their normal? So there's a lot of questions that go into whenever you have something up here, though, where it's more detailed. 40 year, 6.75, modified UPB. That's what you have to go off of. So let's just do that. Let's look at this one here. Let's highlight this one. And we're going to highlight this all in yellow. It was all yellow. Okay. So let's just look at this one to begin with. I don't know the address of it. Let's look over. It is in Covington, Kentucky. Okay. Actually, let's do one in Texas because Texas, it's a little bit easier, I think, to pull data. All right. So this one in San Antonio, Texas. Okay. The original loan amount was 195. Okay. 7.25 fixed. 208,000 is the original appraised value. They give it a value of 195. Okay, it's gone down a little bit. It's a row home, not a big. And this is the loan term, 480, 100% modified. Loan FICO 510. Oof. They took it out on May 9th. Let's do this real fast. Sorry, guys. View freeze panes. Wait, there we go. That's better. Okay, going back to Wilmot 195. Original appraised value is 208. Values is 195 just now. Owner occupied. Low FICO. Took it out in May 2016. Last payment date was they stopped making payments June of last year. Okay. Oh, so they were behind a month then. They made a payment in June 23rd for the May payment, and their next due is as of June 1st. Okay. So they're really 7 months, 8 months behind this time. Their current balance, though, is 271. They haven't paid. Okay. Escrow balance includes 5,900. That's probably property taxes. 1,557 recoverable, and it's probably legal fees. Okay. Current P&I payment 1,738. It's an active foreclosure. Let's go over here, see what they say. So this one, it's like I said, plan set, zero due November of last year to January 1st of this year. Okay. So nothing due, but what's the forbearance plan look like? Okay. There's no comments on it besides zero due. All right. That's a little frustrating. Okay. Let's look at other stuff in Texas just because I think it's the easiest ones to evaluate. Now it's going to foreclose if they don't do something here. All right. So let's see some of these that have maybe some payment plans worked out in the back end, what they adjust them to. Okay, so here's a good one. Here's one, trial payment plan. All right, modified UPB. Let's see how much they took off on this one. This one is in Humble, okay? Humble School District. It's out by Houston. Humble's actually really good in football, really good in baseball. Saw a couple of their teams play at the state titles last year at Dell Diamond. I am a big baseball fan. Humble, Texas. Let's look here. All right, so the loan amount originally was 192,735. 196 is the value. All right, so 480 term. They did 98%. This was originated February of 2020. Made their first payment April of 2020. So they've been in the house right at, 5 years or 6 years. And their next payment due is August 1st of last year. So August, September, October, November, December. They're 6 months behind right now. Current balance is 176. So they got a little bit of equity, not much. But they probably haven't paid taxes for 2 years based on the amount 11,788. Current P&I payment is 1134. Okay, so 1134. Let's look see what they. So they basically made their modified UPB. They took. That's weird. UPB 206. Why does that say that? 206. So what was their legal balance? 176 current balance. Oh, they're probably not including escrow advances in there. So that's what they did. They just basically recast the loan. Okay, you're behind by 12 grand plus 6 months of payments. 6 months of payments are 6 months. That's weird. PI's 1134. So they're pushing it some back to the okay. All right. Trial period, modified P&I payment is 1244. It's $100 more. They're dropping the interest rate to 6.75. Okay. So that's what they did. They just recast the loan. Hey, we're going to recast the loan for 40 years from this date. 6.75, we're dropping in a half point, and your payment's going to increase by $100 based on a higher period. And they've got to, if they make a payment for, you have such big cells, it's harder to get them all in there. From January 1st to March 1st. So the thing that would be interesting to know, did they make a payment? Because they're supposed to make a payment. They're now two out of 3 months back into it. Let's see what this one looks like. Addiscusile Vale. So I'm just going to click on over here and see what the property looks like so we can get any photos. Let me share my screen. All right, so 233 is the value. So they basically, they did 203. They gave them a loan of 90% basically. It's off market to 3.2, built in 2019. So if they bought this in 2020, they moved into it. Let's go back here. Now, it looks like it was listed at some point because let's look at images here. 30, yeah. Let's do images. So here's what it looks like. Yeah, it's got a pool, or it's got a community club. That's what a clubhouse looks like. And you can see not some interior photos, but it's basically, that's the pool and that's the house, what it looks like, I guess. Okay. Let's go back one more. Let's see if we can drop a little guy in there. Probably not. No, it hadn't been mapped because basically it's weird that it hadn't been mapped yet. But we can go and look at some of the, let's do this, take it back. Where has it been mapped? These are all kind of cookie cutter homes, it looks like, right? Yeah. Let's see. Can we get anywhere near it? Let's just drop it here. Yeah, so you can see the neighborhood. Yeah. Nothing, yeah, pretty normal. Yeah, normal 3.2s. Gets me out to take a look at it. So there you go. It's kind of a normal house. What do they say the value on this thing? It's the 230, and they're making an offer 200. So that's kind of what you got to look at. Is it makes sense to buy off of that balance now? Now, if they paid, great. If they paid 3 months, that one might be a good re-performing one to buy. If they haven't paid, then it's a non-performing loan. We go back to our spreadsheet. That's the problem about doing a trial payment plan or mod or forbearance agreement. So so maybe if they make, sometimes this is something you got to get clarified during due diligence. So I would still make offers based off this current balance. Okay. That's what I would make an offer off. All right. With it being a non-performing note. Now it's active. Loan status current is active. They're in the process of working through this out. So if they've made payments, I don't know why they haven't put the payments on there, especially since this was pulled 7 days ago. Trial approved. So if they make these 3 months of payments, then that's the way to look at it. If they've made these 3 months of payments, then it's going to revert to this mod as of April 1st to a 40-year, $203,000, 480 term, 6.75. And that's what their P&I payment will be, 1244. Okay. So could that be a good thing? Yeah, it could be a good thing. What are they going to want further? They want us to pay close to par on the legal balance they've listed? I'm not paying par. All right. It's in the process. Have they paid? Great. So these make it a little difficult to bid on. All right. So you almost have to go in here. How would I calculate it? I would go in here and calculate it the lower price and the higher price because you're kind of on that fence. Have they paid or have they not paid yet? Right. Which you would find out in the due diligence period. They're not going to provide this on the front end because they still want bids to be accepted. So if you came in, and let's just do some math here real fast. It's kind of harder to do this because they don't have it in a column. But let's just say 1244. Let's just go to a new spreadsheet. 1244. What was it? 38? 0.28. Okay. And if it's a resetting, they're starting at the very beginning. So it's not that big a deal. So we'll just say 12 months of on-time payments. It's going to come out to that times that. Okay. Oops. Is equal to 12 times the monthly payment. Because that's what you're going to get if they make that existing payment, right? They're not going to be making extra. They're going to be start paying $12.44 a month. Okay. Well, if they get 12 months of payments, this is the cash flow you're going to get inside of there. Now, the easy way to look at this is looking at what you need to make. So if you were going to make it, if you wanted to make it's at 6.75. So let's just say if you want to make a 12% ROI, pretty easy. You just take this cash flow times the, no, sorry, you gotta divide it, not multiply it. I always forget that until I make the, there you go. So then the best you could offer for that note, if you want to get a 12% cash and cash return, is $124,000. Okay. Now that's at roughly at 203. What they say the modified balance is going to be 206,225. Okay. And that's a dollar amount. So basically, you would be making an offer at roughly that divided by 60 cents on the dollar, roughly. Yeah, see 60 cents on the dollar. Now, if you needed to get a 15% return, let's do this, 15% is equal to that divided by your return is 99.5. I don't think they would accept that on that new house. They just would foreclose, right? I think 60 cents on the dollar is probably going to be the lowest that they would go, depending on where they're at. Of course, if the borrower doesn't follow through on the payment plan, guess what? 206. Yeah, that's at a percentage. They said their legal balance was, or what was the balance on this thing actually was 176, wasn't it? I believe it was. Trial modified UPB. Their current balance is 176,920 without the legal fees and 8 months behind. So I still think that their payoff is probably close to that 203. There might be a 10K, but if you look at 176,921 plus the negative escrow balance of 12 grand, give or take, so that's 180. Really 177 plus 12, that's 189, and some other change on there. 6 months of payments, that's 6 times 13 is 7,800. Yeah, so you're talking probably right around at 195 charge on it. Yeah, okay, so 190, let's go back here. Let's just say 195 is legal balance. So this would be is equal to pay 120, 65 cents to the dollar. Okay, that's to get a 12% return. I don't know what your money costs are. The reason I put 12% in there is if you borrowed, let's say 125,000, and you had it at 8% return, 8% is what your money costs were. is equal to 8. So you'd be paying that, and let's divide it by 12 months. So your money cost would be $833 a month if you borrowed 125 at 8%. And the goal would be I would want to hold this probably for at least 2 years. All right. Because if the value on this says it's what still gives the value at 220, right? Is what I think it said. Yeah, 233. Okay. I got too much stuff open. There we go. So 233. And you're under 50%. Okay. That's still 833 a month is what you pay your interest only partners is equal to they're paying minus you're netting $410 a month in cash flow. That's still not a bad thing after 2 years. Let's do this times 12 months. So it's 49 grand. I'm sorry, 4,900 in a year. So, just under 10 grand, 9,800 bucks, 98.63, 62 roughly for 2 years. And why 2 years? Well, that's going to give them some time to pay off that 206,225. Okay. Because that's the new balance, 206,225. So if you run it through, it's going to pay a little bit down in 40 years. So let's do that real fast. Let's go here. Let's go share and pull up an amortization table. What do I use? All right, here we go. All right, so the loan amount is going to be 206,225. All right, let me share, make sure you can see my screen. Yeah. And we're doing a 40-year term at 6.75. That's per year. Let's change this to 480 months. So principal, so they're paying basically let's do monthly schedules better. Yeah, so they're paying 1244. That's what we said. Okay. So at the end of 2 years, their balance is at 204. Value's hopefully gone up some on that appreciation. So then you've got a little bit more. 233, if it goes up 5%, that's 210 to 225. So you got a little bit of equity growth in 2 years. If we do 3 years, it's just 202,873, but that's you made 15 grand. Yeah, there's worse things in making things happen. Now, if they come back and want 80 cents of the dollar, let's go back here. So they say 80% on is equal to that times 0.8. They want 164,981. Well, based on 14,000 coming, that's less than a 10% return. That's a 9% cash and cash return. That gets kind of skinny. Because if you borrowed 165,000 and you're getting 8% money costs, you'd hopefully get cheaper. It's that times 0.08. I'm going to divide that number by 12 months. You're paying out $1,100 a month and only taking in $1,244. Yeah, that's too skinny. That's 144 bucks a month. That's not enough to do this deal. It's too skinny. And you wouldn't be able to add servicing costs on that either. So you're really at $100 a month for that work. I wouldn't touch it. All dependent. That 60, 65 cents, it's doable. It's at that $400 a month range that we're really looking for or higher. All right. Now, provided you got to raise capital 8%. And that's what we talk about the marketing to IRA investors. Um, I mean, there you go. Does this make sense, everybody? Let's look at another one here. So this other one, well, I think the one below it was going, so it's an active foreclosure. Let's highlight this one instead now. And we'll all right. So this one, it's in foreclosure. These two are actually these three are in active foreclosures. Let's go through that. One's a bankruptcy, so it's just to be a bankruptcy loan. All right. So these where this first one is San Antonio. Let's see what it looks like. Just for the heck of it. There you go. 250 is the value on this. Not a bad looking little property. Let's see what part of San Antonio it's in. New build off of 90. Yeah, I know. I know where this is. Valley High North, Rainbow Hills. Is that by Leon Springs? Medina Valley. Okay. Yeah, one of these big housing. Wonder what high school this is at. Melissa Ranch. I've been out this neck of the woods. Okay. Yeah. See, it's all kind of cookie cutter. Not been mapped because it's newly built. All right. So let's drop our guy over here where it is being mapped. So you kind of see the neighborhood. Yep. Similar cookie cutter. Looks like DR Horton or KB Homes kind of neighborhood. Big houses. Maybe a little nicer DR Horton. Instead of Coffin Brody. Okay. This is kind of what the neighborhood is. Not the actual house, so don't be thinking of like the one we just showed you. So this one, did they offer up a mod on these? So no, they didn't on this one, right? So yeah, forbearance plan sent zero due till January. This other one, they modify these. These other two down here. Trial period is from 12/1 to February 1st. So who knows if this one has made payments. And this one, trial period is 3/1 to my. Now look at this one, only $473 a month. So this one, so they're 473. They only owe 67 on this one. Well, this one's in Idalou, so I don't know where Idalou, Texas is. Let's take a look at this one. I don't know, my darling. Same thing. Idalou ISD. Okay. Let's see where this is at. Idalou is outside of Lubbock. Okay. Idalou in Lubbock. Down the road, but we can look at the side here. I think that's it. Where's that at? 504 Mulberry Street. I get an issue with the roof. This is from April 2023. That's it. So it needs work. Balance is 58. Value of 85. Oh, 67, because they haven't made a payment since August of last, since July of last. Oh, from they made a payment. Okay, so they made a payment January of this year, but that was for July of last year. So here's the thing that you run into with stuff like this. Since the borrower, since not the borrower, since the borrower made a payment in January and the seller, the loan servicer accepted it, that's technically allowing them to stay in place. You've basically delayed that 90-day period. It starts all over. So you couldn't foreclose on them right now if you wanted to. You'd have to wait the 90 days from the time of January 24th. Because they're still behind, right? So they're behind by 4 or 5, 6 months basically still. So they just reset that time limit. So it's if in foreclosure, you wouldn't be able to foreclose till that 90-day period expired. And that's probably, yeah, see, well, they made a payment there. Maybe that payment was for part of that. Who knows? I don't know. 473.82. I'm looking back here, see what their payment is. So the current payment is 431. So it's only a $40 more a month payment for the trial payment plan. So like if you can make 3 payments on time, we'll let you stay in the property. So that maybe they made that one payment. Who knows? I don't know. So that one, same thing. I don't necessarily think I want to own it. It might be too low. Let's see here. Share my screen. How many people live in Idalou, Texas? 2,193. Yeah, it's too small right there. That's kind of, yeah, you know, there's 8,200, not 829 households there based on this 2020 census. Okay. Is Idalou, Texas a good place to live? Convenient. How far is, let's see here. How far is Idalou from Texas Tech University? It's 17 minutes. Okay. Well, it looks like maybe it could be a good rental for somebody, but I still think it's a little bit outside. It's just a smaller city. Now, could it be a possibility? Yeah, 15-minute drive on 82 East. It's a straight shot. Yeah, I would make an offer on it. So that's the route we gotta go. Questions, comments, concerns from you guys on these. I would base your bids off of what they say is a legal balance or their balance, UPB, because they're not giving you a payoff balance. And then also be prepared for what they do give you the new UPB of what the new updated balance is. You're gonna have to compare the two. You know what I mean? And if it makes sense on one at 60 cents of the dollar, maybe they'll accept 60 cents of the dollar for the 205 when they owed 178. You get what I'm saying? It's the numbers have got to work for you. So the great thing about this, you make an offer. If it's accepted, great. You know, if not, they may counter it back. If you make a bid at 80 cents of the dollar off of the UPB at 178 and they want you to counter up, then you need to get a full legal balance and go from there. Now let's look at that real fast. Hang on a second. Let's look at this real fast. So we go back over here. We go back to our example. I don't think it's going to make sense here. What did I say? Yeah. So if their balance is the 164,980, it's the value there that they give that. And let's see, the 178. A3 divided by A4. Yeah, that's that. Okay. 178. Let's do the 178. Is equal to that times 0.8. It's 14.2 is equal divided by that. Yeah, so there'd be a 10% cash and cash return if you got it at 80% of the what they say is the stated balance of 178. Okay. Now, if the new balance is if they do start making payments, and that one was going to be 1344, wasn't it? I'm just thinking here. Yeah. Modified P, no, it's 1244. That's right. That's the most you're going to get. Okay. So let's go back to the spreadsheet here. Yeah, 1493. Yeah. Yeah. So this is 10% on that return. Yeah, if you pay the 170. Yeah, it's too skinny. It's still too skinny a deal, I'd say. Okay. Some options for you to take a look, guys. Bids are due. Let me take a look at that from my seller on that one. What did they say that bids were due? Okay, bids are due, I think Wednesday. Yeah, bids are due Wednesday on those. So if you want to make an offer, submit an offer to me directly. We may go through a little bit more of those tonight. We may go pull some individual deals off this tape and do individual case studies later on tonight for Note Night in America. And hopefully, guys, make some offers. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Talkwithscottcarson.com. Book a phone call. Let's connect. Let's help you closing some more stuff this year. And the only way to do that is make more offers. So go out, take some action, everybody, and we'll see you all at the top. Bye. Hey, real estate investor, Scott Carson here, and I'm excited to announce our next workshop. And actually, it's will be taking place live and in person here in Austin, Texas on February 27th, the 28th, and March 1st. Now, that's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I can't think of a better way to start off, hopefully, the warm part of the year by joining me for 3 days here of in-person content. That's right. We'll show you how to find deals, how to fund deals, how to flip them, and then also how to give them to cash flow for you without using your own money. And we'll show you how to get banks, lenders, hedge funds to start sending you lists on a regular basis that, yes, you can cherry pick. Yes, you don't need to have 5, 10, $15 million in private capital to buy notes. Many of our students are buying with less than $25,000 on their first deal, and it's generating 250, 400, $500,000 a month in cash flow to them, and they're getting an infinite rate of return without even having to use their own money. That's right, they're leveraging self-directed IRA funds or OPM, other people's money to fund these deals. So encourage you to come out. This is our first live workshop in over 6 months. We'll only be doing 2 of them live here in Austin. The other 2 will be online. The next one will be till mid-May, maybe early June. And the great thing is we're keeping this to under 50 seats, and we have less than 25 seats available right now as I record this, about a month out from the actual class. So come on in, join us, get signed up at notebuyingfordummies.com or our website at weclosenotes.com. Normal ticket price is $9.97 per person. We're running a special 50% off, so it's $4.97 for you, plus a spouse or partner. We've got people coming in from across the country to join you for, like I said, 3 days. Come in, fly in Thursday night, spend all day Friday, Saturday, Sunday, fly out Sunday night or Monday morning. We've got a ton of deals to be diving into, real tapes, real assets, some local, some all across the country, but more than enough to go around. And we want to have you come in and spend 3 days with us and give you a little bit of that Texas hospitality that we're known for here in Austin, Texas. That's right. Fly to Austin, come stay at the hotel, hang out for 3 days with a chunk of other note investors who are actually kicking ass and taking names in the note business right now, and spend 3 days with me and my team to help you create a 6-figure income for you and your family. So if you ever wanted to change what happened last year to you, want to make 2026 the most productive, then really the best thing you do is come spend time with me here in Austin, Texas. We'll have a great time. You'll have a 200 plus page manual, access to notes to cherry pick from. We'll even give you the video replays from our November workshop that you can start learning ahead of time or take with you after the class to be able to rock it all out. And of course, you've always got access to me and my AI clone to help you take to the next level. So get signed up today, notebuyingfordummies.com. We look forward to seeing you in Austin, and we'll see you at the top, everybody. Bye.